This is the GT50 from AliExpress, and I paid exactly $42 for it. Now, before you click away thinking this is just another cheap toy that'll break in 5 minutes, I need you to stick around because what I discovered during my testing genuinely surprised me. We're talking genuine brushless motor performance, legitimate optical flow positioning, and flight characteristics that honestly put some $100 drones to shame. But here's the kicker. It's not perfect, and by the end of this video, you'll know exactly whether this $42 gamble is worth taking or if you should save your money. I'm going to show you everything, the good, the bad, and the genuinely ugly truth about ultra-budget drones. So, hit that subscribe button because you're about to see if the GT50 is the deal of the century or just another disappointment with propellers. First impressions. Visual comparison. Let's address the elephant in the room. Right off the bat, yes, this thing looks suspiciously similar to DJI's Mini series drones, particularly the newer Mini 5 Pro. The designers absolutely took inspiration from DJI's iconic foldable design, and honestly, I'm not mad about it. Imitation is the sincerest form of flattery, right? But here's what matters. This isn't trying to be a DJI clone in performance. It's trying to deliver as much value as possible at a fraction of the cost. The build quality actually shocked me when I pulled it out of the box. The plastic doesn't feel flimsy or cheap. The folding arms have a satisfying click when they lock into place, and there's minimal wobble in the frame. The brushless motors. And yes, these are legitimate brushless motors, not the brushed garbage you typically find at this price point. They're securely mounted and spin freely without any grinding or resistance. You've got LED lights on the bottom here that aren't just for show, they actually help with visibility during dusk flights. The optical flow sensor sits right between these lights, and this little guy is crucial for the stability you're going to see later in the flight test. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's crack open this package and see what $42 actually gets you. What's in the package? Presentation-wise, this drone doesn't mess around. You get a semi-hard carrying case with foam cutouts that actually fit the drone and controller properly. That might sound basic, but I've reviewed $70 drones that just throw everything in a cardboard box and call it a day. This case isn't going to protect your gear from a sledgehammer, but it'll absolutely keep everything organized in your backpack. Inside, you're getting the drone itself, a controller with a built-in screen, which we'll dive deep into in a moment, one battery, a USB-C charging cable, a set of spare propellers, a micro SD card with a reader, and a quick start guide that's actually somewhat helpful. Now, let's talk about the battery situation because this is where we start seeing some compromises. This is a single-cell lithium polymer battery, rated at 1300 mAh. For those not fluent in battery tech, a single-cell setup means less power output, which translates to limited camera quality and moderate flight performance. You're not going to get 4K video from a single-cell battery system. The electronics just can't pull enough power. But what you do get is a lightweight setup that maximizes flight time relative to the battery capacity. Charging is handled through USB-C, which is fantastic because you can charge this from a power bank, your laptop, or any modern phone charger. A red LED illuminates during charging and shuts off when complete. No guesswork, no complicated charging procedures. The battery slides into the drone with a satisfying click, and there's a power button right on the battery itself. Simple, effective, and honestly better than some drones triple this price. Quick note about this SD card. It's garbage. I'm just going to be straight with you. The included card failed to register on my computer multiple times, and even when it worked, the read speeds were abysmal. Do yourself a favor and grab a name brand micro SD card. You can get a Samsung or SanDisk card for under $10, and it'll save you massive frustration. Consider it a mandatory upgrade, not an optional one. Controller deep dive. Here's where this drone separates itself from the competition. This controller is genuinely impressive for the price point. That built-in screen isn't some tiny postage stamp. It's a legitimate display that shows your live video feed, telemetry data, and all your controls in real time. Let me power this on and show you the interface. You get this little boot animation, and then boom, you're in the main interface. The screen resolution isn't going to win any awards, but it's perfectly adequate for flying and framing your shots. The massive advantage here is that you don't need to fiddle with your phone. No app downloads, no compatibility issues, no mount that holds your phone at a weird angle. Just power on the controller, power on the drone, and you're flying within 30 seconds. Let's walk through the controls because there's actually a lot packed onto this thing. Up top here, you've got your 3-speed rate switch. These control how responsive the drone is to your inputs. Low rate for smooth cinematic shots, high rate for sporty flying. This dial controls your camera tilt, letting you angle the camera up and down remotely. That's motorized control, which again is remarkable at this price. The controller features a 4.3-inch built-in screen for viewing your live video feed. On the side, you've got your micro SD card slot, and this is where you'll want to use that better SD card I mentioned. Next to it is your charging port. Because this controller has a built-in rechargeable battery, no hunting for AA batteries or dealing with weak signals from cheap battery power. You charge it once, and you're good for multiple flight sessions. These buttons handle your specialty functions. You've got obstacle avoidance toggle, headless mode, flip mode, and gyro calibration. Now, I'm going to be completely honest with you. I don't recommend using most of these. The obstacle avoidance is mostly marketing fluff. Headless mode confuses more than it helps, and you'll rarely need gyro calibration if you're taking off from level ground. But the flip function, that's genuinely fun, and I'll demonstrate it during the flight test. The gimbal sticks are removable, which makes the controller way more portable. They just pull off. No threading, no screwing, just pull and store them in these little holders on the bottom of the controller. Smart design choice that shows someone actually thought about real-world usability. Technical breakdown. Before we get this thing in the air, let's talk about the technology that makes it work, because understanding these systems will help you get better performance. Those brushless motors are the star of the show. Unlike brushed motors that wear out quickly and lose power over time, brushless motors are vastly more efficient, more powerful, and last significantly longer. These specific motors are 1503 brushless motors rated at 4000 kV, which gives the drone plenty of punch for quick maneuvers and fighting wind. This optical flow sensor is your stability secret weapon. Essentially, it's a downward-facing camera that takes rapid snapshots of the ground below. The drone's processor analyzes these images to detect movement, then makes micro adjustments to hold position. It's the same basic technology that's in $1,000 drones, just with a cheaper sensor and less sophisticated processing. The limitation is that optical flow only works well when you're relatively close to the ground, usually under 20 feet. Get too high, and the sensor can't resolve enough detail to track position accurately. The camera is where we see the biggest compromise. This is a 480p sensor shooting at 30 frames per second. For context, that's standard definition quality, lower than even 720p HD. The motorized tilt mechanism works smoothly, which is great, but you're not going to get footage that looks sharp on a big TV. However, for social media posts on your phone, quick snapshots, or just seeing where you're flying, it's absolutely adequate. Manage your expectations here, and you won't be disappointed. You can fly this with the KY UFO app on your phone if you want, but honestly, why would you? The built-in screen is the whole point of this package. The app offers the same controls, the same video quality, and requires you to mount your phone to the controller. Save yourself the hassle and use the screen. It's one of the best features of this entire setup. Flight test part, all right? We're outside, we've got ideal conditions with minimal wind, and it's time to see if this $42 drone can actually fly or if it's just an expensive paperweight. I'm going to walk you through the startup sequence in real time so you know exactly what to expect. Power on the controller. There's the boot screen. Power on the drone, you'll hear a beep sequence and the LEDs will flash. Within about 5 seconds, they sync up automatically and you'll see the video feed appear on the screen. No complicated binding procedures, no holding buttons in weird combinations. It just works. I'm going to unlock the motors by pressing this button, and now I'm going to hit auto takeoff. Watch what happens. The drone lifts smoothly to about 4 feet and just holds. No drifting, no wandering, just locked in position. That optical flow sensor is doing its job beautifully. Now watch this. I'm going to move my hand underneath the drone slowly, and you'll see it rise up to maintain distance. That's the optical flow adjusting in real time. We're in low rate right now, which is the slowest, most controlled mode. Watch the responsiveness. Full stick forward, and it moves at a gentle walking pace. This is perfect for smooth video, or if you're a complete beginner. There's virtually no wind today, so the drone isn't fighting to maintain position. It's stable, predictable, and honestly, pretty boring, which in this case is a compliment. Let's bump up to medium rate. Now we're talking. The response is noticeably quicker, but still controllable. This is probably where most people will fly most of the time. Fast enough to be fun, slow enough to avoid panic. The drone accelerates smoothly, stops without overshooting, and the optical flow keeps it from drifting during stops. And now, for high rate, this is where things get spicy. Full stick. And this thing moves. For a budget drone, this is genuinely impressive speed. It's not going to outrun a racing quad, but it's faster than you'd expect from a $42 aircraft. The handling is still solid, and I'm not fighting the controls. This is the rate I recommend for actual flying when you want to have fun and not worry about tiny breezes pushing you into a tree. While camera performance and range, let's talk about this camera system while we're in the air. I'm going to use the dial to tilt the camera down. Watch the screen. It's smooth, it's motorized, and it gives you legitimate control over your framing. Now, here's the thing about flying without a gimbal. When I pitch the drone forward to fly, the entire drone tilts, which means the camera tilts with it. That's why you'll want to keep the camera angled up most of the time. If it's level, you'll be staring at the ground whenever you fly forward. I'm taking it up higher. Now, maybe 15 feet or so. Notice how the drift is starting to increase? The optical flow is struggling to lock onto details at this altitude. It's still flyable, absolutely, but that rock-solid stability from lower altitudes is fading. This is the fundamental limitation of optical flow technology. GPS drones don't have this problem, but GPS drones also don't cost $42. I'm going to fly this out away from me and test the range and control quality. The video feed on this screen is holding solid. No breakup, no stuttering. I'm probably 100 feet out now, and everything is still responsive. Controls have zero lag, which is crucial for safe flying. I could push this further, but here's my honest advice. Don't. Without GPS return to home, if you lose signal or orientation, you're relying entirely on line of sight to get back. That's a recipe for losing a drone in a tree or someone's backyard. For a drone at this price point, I'd say your comfortable range is about the length of a football field, assuming you've got clear line of sight. Push beyond that, and you're gambling. The technology is solid within reasonable limits, but this isn't the drone for long-range exploring. Advanced features, flips, and photo mode. Alright, let's have some fun. I'm going to test the 360 flip function. Get the drone out in open space, make sure there's nothing around, and press the flip button. Now when I push the stick forward, there it goes. Clean flip, recovered immediately. No issues. Let me try backwards. Perfect. Now here's something odd. When I try left or right, nothing happens. Most toy drones do left and right flips, but not forward and back. This one's the opposite. It's not a deal breaker, just quirky. Let's shift gears and test photo capture, because honestly, photos are where this drone might shine more than video. I'm going to let the optical flow stabilize the position here. Give it a few seconds to lock in and stop drifting. Perfect. Now I'm taking a photo of that building over there. The shutter is silent, so you won't hear any confirmation, but you'll see a quick flash on the screen. I'm rotating around and grabbing a few different perspectives. The nice thing about photos versus video is that even with a 720p sensor, a still image can look significantly better. There's no motion blur, no compression artifacts from video encoding, just a clean snapshot. For social media, for documenting your flights, or for just having fun, the photo mode is genuinely usable. Now, I know the drone advertises obstacle avoidance with those 5 infrared sensors, and you might be wondering why I'm not testing them. Here's the brutal truth. They don't work well enough to trust. Infrared sensors get confused by sunlight, struggle with certain materials, and most importantly, when they're active, the drone slows to a crawl. I've tested dozens of budget drones with obstacle avoidance, and I can count on one hand the times it actually prevented a crash rather than caused one. Don't buy this drone for obstacle avoidance. Buy it for the things that actually work. Final thoughts and recommendations. We've been flying for over 10 minutes now, and I'm just starting to get the low battery warning. That's exceptional flight time for a 1300 milliamp hour battery. My hands are getting cold, so let's bring this home and talk about the bottom line. Auto landing activated, and it sets down gently. Perfect. So here's my final verdict on the GT50. This drone absolutely delivers on its core promise. Fun, stable flight with decent photo capability at an incredibly low price. The brushless motors provide power and longevity that brushed motors can't match. The optical flow system, while limited, genuinely works well within its design parameters. The controller with the built-in screen is a game changer that eliminates the phone hassle entirely. But let's be crystal clear about who this is for. If you want 4K video, GPS features, long-range capability, or professional-grade anything, keep saving your money. This isn't that drone. However, if you want to learn how to fly without risking a $500 investment, if you want something fun to mess around with in your backyard, if you want to grab quick aerial photos without overthinking it, or if you're buying a first drone for yourself or a kid, this is an absolute no-brainer at $42. The real question isn't whether this drone is perfect. It's not. The real question is whether it delivers more value than it costs. And the answer is absolutely yes. I've reviewed drones at 3 times this price that don't fly as well or feel as solid. This is a genuine win in the budget drone category. I've put the purchase link in the description below if you want to grab one from AliExpress. If you're in the US, just know that any See, tariff fees are already included in the price, so what you see is what you pay. If this video helped you make a decision, smash that like button and drop a comment telling me what your budget drone limit is. Would you spend $50 on a drone? 100? I want to know where you draw the line. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications because I test budget gear every single week, and I always tell you the unfiltered truth about whether it's worth your money. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Now get out there and fly something.